because I think OBS has done something crazy. All right. Yes. Was it this one? Can you hear him? It was OBS Congeal for sure. Oh my gosh, every time I do a stream, I have to mess something up. Oh, now I need to figure out which track it was. Yeah, back now. Okay, let's do it like this. Okay. Yeah, so OBS wasn't showing me which channel the stream was on. There we go. Let's start it from the top. Everybody, you saw nothing. Everything is fine. Totally a-okay. We're doing it live, as per normal. Kia ora, salmon. Hello, everyone. I'm Erica. But today I'm taking on the mantle of completely professional streamer Aerik Pindleberry, scribe of Albyon Absey's Geographical Almanac, and we'll be exploring one of the Almanac's locations with several friends to this direction, I believe. Yes. If you're unfamiliar with our almanac, it is an entirely free monthly website publication of ready-written locations for any type of collaborative story. Congeal, I see you in chat talking smack about me. It is system agnostic and inclusive of a great many things, such as sensory descriptions, NPCs and potential adventure hooks, local culture, and thematic roll tables. We recently had a successful Kickstarter campaign, much more successful than my attempts at streaming, to bring all of this to hardcover form, complete with bespoke art, location-themed subclasses for D&D 5e, and even more roll tables of NPCs, factions, items, and randomized locations. You can find links to the website and pre-orders for the hardcover or digital PDF in the stream description. For this one-shot, I'll be taking our 4 lovely players through Hirathaya, a place where death is revered and celebrated with grand ceremony once a year, where mists abound, most thick and magic woven, mycelial, mysterious. Please allow me to introduce our brave adventurers, beginning with my fellow scribe, Jack.
Hello, hello, I am Jack, I am a scribe at Albyon Absey, and today I'll be playing Melda, who is from the Fae-cursed Doll's House, Ilithia.
Lovely. We're also joined by Josh of the Heroes Die actual play.
Hello, I'm Josh, and I'll be playing Wibbs Twexford. He hails from Baron Arcadia's Circus Fortuna, and he is a teenager with like wiry long hair, and his eyes are constantly darting to see what he can suss out.
I'm so excited. I love Wibbs already. We're also joined by infamous punster Rara.
I'm Rara, and I have no idea what they're referring to. I will be playing Krista Reedwallow, who's built like a sock full of beef jerky, is all you need to know for now. I'm happy to be here.
And our party is complete with the gorgeous Sakaya.
Hello everyone, I'm Sakaya. I'm a actual play podcaster, and today I should be playing Granny Loosestrife, the devilish and cantankerous old woman.
And once again, I'm Erica in the guise of Almanac Scribe Aerik Pindleberry. I'm usually a cozy Let's Play YouTuber. Yes, I do this regularly. I don't know how I keep having tech issues like this. I also sometimes dabble in game development. I default to she, her pronouns, but you can use anything you like. Personally, I think I'd make a great grandpa. Not a great grandpa, but you get it. I'll try to keep an eye on chat as we go, but we are flying modless today, so please behave yourselves nicely, Congeal. I'm looking at you. We're also running a customized system for today's game, and you'll find some information about that in the sidebar to the right of the screen as we go along. I'll introduce that a little bit more after the intermission. Essentially, it's a simple 2d6 system, much inspired by things like Monster of the Week, because I played that with Chloe, who is in chat right now, and I had a great time. Please note also that the nature of this location will deal with the topics of death, burial, and mourning. We're a lighthearted bunch, but we may delve into these themes, and if that's something you as an audience need to step away from, please do so and take care of yourselves. It's a time of the year where these things can hit harder for some of us, and we understand that. And without further ado, let us set today's scene with a bunch of words I had to practice the pronunciation of, Albyon. 'Tis of the living and of the dead, this Hirathaya, the here and there, the lost and found, above and below. 55 miles between two villages, each unknown to the other, kept apart by choking mycelial mists most thick, embraced by a sheer cliff face of glistening green moss agate, copperish chalcopyrite, that's the one I stumble on, and cinnabar. The dead descend here's sharp ravine and are deeply mourned as they depart. But hark! An arcane spark shrouds their falling, wherein a new life then returns. Downwards to the leaf-littered Athea below they come, to shamble, shed, and shimmer on, composting gently as they go. Their souls soon thereafter in lanterns ascend, untethered from their roaming bodies, which knoweth no end, to fertilize arcanely, a feast for the worms and mushrooming mold. And so myths and superstitions bear such spores of both the far above and low below, of a place beyond damp, sodden mists, air full of mycelial gifts, of old flesh, new ether, lantern trinkets, and ripely fruit-blind prayers. You've travelled together for only a couple of weeks. Some among you were headed here already, others amiably accosted by an affable and affluent young man who had, for example, sat himself down at your breakfasting table at an inn quite as if he belonged there or perhaps owned it, and proceeded to wax enthusiastic about an upcoming festival he'd heard of. Only happens once a year, he'd gushed, eyes shining, fingertip jabbing a well-worn book on the sticky tabletop. Yeah, sure, it's in the middle of nowhere, but that's how you know it's going to be awesome, am I right? Folks throwing a bunch of dead bodies off a cliff and partying about it? Boom, I gotta go. Besides, he'd added with a sly sort of grin, I heard they got some real interesting mushrooms in those parts. And I bet Chad, the Nirhana Beach Cottage, I could bring some back for the fraternity reunion, so I really gotta go. Those mushrooms are calling me. He nods sagely. Love a good quiche, me, after all. So here you'd come, with each other and this kid who'd somehow brought you all into his wake. Gillian Broadwick is not the brightest, and sometimes his effortless wealth is frustrating, but it's also been fascinating. With exactly the energy of a rich kid taking a gap year to backpack the world and find himself, Gillian has a vast array of needless but frankly incredible traveling gear, and maybe it's this that keeps you with him. The dehydratable tent, for example, that collapses into something that looks unfortunately similar to those chalky mints that old people like, and becomes a lavish 6-room tent when you put it in a saucer of ale. And all the traveling rations he has, convinced that they're very normal and standard, but none of you have ever had instant cheesecake before. Seriously, how do you add boiling water to a foil packet and get a cold dessert? By being Gillian Broadwick, it seems. So you've stuck around, maybe for the company, or curiosity, or because it was a sign, a signpost, a direction to point your feet in. And you have arrived here, as the festival begins to wind up. All in all, the atmosphere of the town is not what Gillian's descriptions had led you to expect. There is no inn here, no friendly place to bed down for the night. Instead, you are greeted by pinch-faced priests and glowering locals as they rush about with furbish intent. For a price, you are told you may sleep in one of the many small temples. Luckily, your cheerful contact is generous with his own spacious tent, so you need not avail yourself of such begrudging hospitality. The rain here is constant, great sheets of it, thankfully warm. Muddied boardwalks serve as streets. A few other travelers have made this journey and engage in barter or prayer and wait. Expectation lays thick and tense upon the heavy air, readying for the dawn's ritual. An array of corpses and their accoutrements waiting to greet eternity. It is not yet dawn when you face a rude awakening. The tent shrinks around you and then twists and struggles before ejecting you, taking its mint-esque form to sit forlornly in the mud. You're unharmed, but puzzled. The tent is bound to Gillian, after all, retracting each day at his behest. What do you do, sitting in the mud in the rain at 4 o'clock in the morning?
That was intense.
It's extremely rude, that's what that is. Promelda, give me a hand. Pick me up.
Here you go.
Oh, dear me. Stupid tent.
I'll try to keep you dry, Granny.
Yeah, you do that.
Lovely.
Do we
Gillian,
see our host of the tent?
You do not see Gillian anywhere.
Gillian?
Would you
Maybe
like?
he's on an island.
He's not on an island as far as you know, but hey,
No.
stranger things have happened. He didn't leave a note saying he was going to an island, at least. Would you
He
like?
just says he's going on a 3-hour tour.
He's just taking the little bus around, just a cart and pony.
Mm.
I am.
Hopefully he hasn't started the fun without us.
Mm.
Don't want to miss it. Maybe this was our wake-up call. The wake-up call to a call to action, perhaps? We need to take action.
Wibbs, what if he trapped us and now he's abandoned us?
No. I've invested far too much into him already in these past few weeks. He wouldn't just abandon us now. That would be a lost time, and I can't lose time. I've already lost most of my life before this part. We need to go to action.
That's true. We have. I don't have any of my life left from before.
It's gone. It's gone, and we'll never get it back. But now we have an opportunity. This is our opportunity. And this rain, this mud, it symbolizes something.
Something.
I think it's just mad.
That's what they want you to think. Oh, and they do. They want you to think that. But I can see.
I hate
This
when
is not
people
mere
want me
mind.
to think.
That's it. I try to think as little as possible unless I am the one thinking.
Well, there's far too much thinking and not enough doing. Right, come on.
What would
Pick your
you
stuff
like
up.
to
We need
do?
to find out what we're doing.
I will, with my porcelain body just hanging limp, I will almost leap in the air, almost being pulled up by strings, and just do a little 360 to see if I can see anyone around.
Yeah, would you like to do a description of Romelda for me, Jack?
Sure thing. So, Framelda is almost completely made of porcelain. She has this purple, wool-like hair that comes out that's held together with a sewing pin. As she moves, it's almost as if she's not moving herself, but a marionette-esque sort of puppeteer is moving her. It's very disjointed. It's very floppy. Let's go with floppy. But yeah, that's kind of Framelda in a nutshell.
Floppy.
Floppy. Limp.
That's nice.
I'm not helping myself.
No, you're not. All right.
Do you
So
need to be tossed up like a baby?
Sometimes, but sometimes I just get pulled.
Yeah, well, if you need to be thrown like a baby, just let me know.
Do you throw babies regularly?
No, but I throw people like them.
Oh, I mean, always good to have a boost.
I'll boost you.
All right. So, Krista, do you want to roll help a buddy for me? And from Melda, what would you like to do? Do you want to like poke your nose in, or do you want to do a vibe check? Are you just trying to assess what's going on, or are you trying to look specifically for Gillian?
I'm looking specifically for Gillian at this point.
Okay,
Yeah,
then.
of course you are.
Can't help it, he's so charismatic. He's
And
Must
I
have
was
space.
7 on the die, and I have 2 for stout. If that's added to that.
Cool. So help a buddy is schmooze. So it'll just
I
be.
have 1 for schmooze.
You have a 1 for schmooze, then it's an 8. That's nice. Cool. So you get a +1 on your roll then from Elder, and that will be wit, unless you have something that would change that.
Well, that's absolutely lovely because I rolled 2 1s, plus another 1, plus another 1 for my wit, so that's 4.
Oh, yeah. You don't see anything.
My head's spinning round too quickly, and just miss it, and I just land, and the like mud just squelched. There is nothing there.
And Krista, as you throw from Elder up, you just slip a little bit in the mud, and you've Charlie horsed yourself, so you're feeling that a little bit for the rest of the day. You don't take any damage, but it's at your age too, it's just like really doubled down in this weather. You know, that mugginess.
I'm a little sad that they fell in the mud, but they didn't ask me to catch them. They just asked me to toss them. So I don't really know if it's my job.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm sorry.
Stop prancing around here. Granny's going to take her wand and see if she can ascertain any traces of this Gillian that might be left.
Sure. Are you looking to do a specific move, or?
No, not really. I'm hoping to use my words to see if I can sense him on the air.
Sense him on the air. Okay. So, you could do a vibe check using. Did you take Armchair Psychologist or Weird Connections?
I took Weird Connections.
All right. Okay. Well, you can do a vibe check anyway if you like.
I will do a vibe check.
So that'll be kenning.
Well, that's a 10.
Ooh, very nice. All right. Cool. So you're looking at this place around you. And you soon deduce that Gillian is not there. Pretty obvious. You've got a tent in the form of a little mint-sized thing on the ground, and the 4 of you and your packs and stuff. And Gillian's packs as well. They're still there. But they're missing key items, including the not insubstantial purses of coin he keeps far too casually upon his person. Coin he'd promised you each a hefty share of just for the pleasure of your company on the road to this remote locale. You also find a few other of his more expensive decorative items are missing as well. Jewelry, stuff like that. The collapsible set of gold-plated eating utensils he uses every day. In fact, you get the impression that the only reason his magical backpacking gear itself is left untouched is because it looks entirely ordinary. The rain is still falling, the sun's beginning to filter sluggishly into the valley, and it's not quite heavy enough to wash away some tracks leading from your campsite into town.
Wibbs, do you think these are real, or do you think this is here to throw us off?
No, if you can sense it and I see it, puts his hand on the thing, I can feel it, kind
I
of
see you
scoops some up
feeling
on
it.
his finger. I can taste it. It's real. It's real. Like at least 3 of my 5 senses indicate that it's real. That's a majority. I believe that these are accurate footprints.
Wibbs just snake smelled it with his tongue, and he says it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Real. Definitely real.
I'll put
Right.
formaldehyde in my fish basket on my back where they can, Ewok ride.
Come on then, let's go.
Lovely. Then the tracks lead you from your campsite to one of the temples in town. The shrouded forms of the dead had been kept here, anointed and dressed for their departure. Now they're being borne through the streets to the expectant chanting and droning of its inhabitants to the cliff's edge. The festival Gillian had been so excited to see has begun, and you have a sneaking suspicion he has somehow become a part of it. But why? And how? None of you heard struggle when he was taken. There had been no blood, no torn clothing, or signs of a fight. There is one thing that the weird draws Granny towards. One of the things left behind in Gillian's pack is a trinket from your brief encounter with the squirrels of Nesteropates on your way to here. You'd purchased a tiny compass, just a pine needle set into half a snail shell, the needle spinning constantly. Ever the gullible tourist, Gillian hadn't been able to resist purchasing it, even though it clearly did not work. And now you see the needle straining in one singular direction, the cliff's edge, where all the bodies are lined up to go over. Granny, your familiarity with the working of the weave leads you to believe that this item is magically attuned to its owner's spirit. And that means Gillian is still alive.
Well, well, well. Look at this. Pointing straight to our useless little rich boy.
It pines for him. Clearly, the pine needle pines.
That's exactly what it's doing. Well,
Do you think he's still alive, Granny, or is he in one of those body bags?
no, I think he's still on this mortal coil while it's pointing towards his soul.
Oh.
Or at
Feet
least it's
first.
attainable.
Mm-hmm.
The residents of
You wanna lead?
here are starting to take the bodies, and one by one, with prayers and sobbing and crying, but also cheering, deliver them over the cliff's edge. There's a few of them. The needle is pointing to somewhere in their ranks.
Hmm.
Is he in there? Is that where he is? Do we want to go and, make sure he's not being thrown over the edge?
I would say it's wise. He's here for now, but he might not be here for long.
And he still has all of his possessions, and I want the gold.
Another body goes over. There's cheering, crying. You see families gathering, obviously mourning. Those that have departed this mortal coil during the course of the year.
Right, I suppose we better save him. Come on.
Granny start hobbling.
I think you see Krista get a little distracted watching the bodies going over the edge, a little more somber than they tend to be. And if you were watching close, you'd probably see them pull out a small jar and look over the cliff and just shake their head, not yet, and put it back in his little pack, and then walk after Granny and everyone with his candle.
Another body goes over.
Another body hit the shore.
Granny, do you still have the book? Did he have the book on him still? Did we manage to get his big? I believe it's an almanac. They're quite expensive. They're about 50 gold pieces. Pre-order now.
Krista, you've got his bag, haven't you? Why don't you have a little look?
Oh yeah, I do have it. It's up. I think you're sitting on it in the basket from Elda.
Let me dig through.
Yeah.
Is the almanac in his possession, or has he taken it with him?
The almanac that you see Gillian bring out most of the time is not there, but there is an older edition, so it is a little bit out of date. But it is still there. It's like his backup, The other one he keeps on him pretty much at all times because it is his entire personality. So.
Oh, look, this one's pre-Kickstarter.
Does it have a chapter on where he is right now?
I was hoping to find more about where we are. Maybe we understand more of the custom.
That's good thinking.
So it will sit in your little basket, and I'll open it up and just exaggeratedly like swapping through pages to try and find anything about here.
Yeah.
All above my head in like a fish basket.
Yep. And you're a little bit clumsy for it from Elder, so you pass it off to Wibbs, and Wibbs can go through the almanac using his special move of book smarts, aka metagaming, which is really fun. And it is a little bit out of date, but you do learn a little bit about this village of here, and that it delivers its dead once a year to the ravine below, and then the next dawn, strange magical lanterns rise up from the ravine, unknowing of their source. Everybody in this town is pretty much uniquely dedicated to death, to achieving a good life, so that when they go over the edge of the ravine with their possessions and their belongings, their riches with them, the lanterns that come up the next day or whatever will promote good fortune for their families and those left behind. There are various skills and trades in the town as well. It's pretty self-sufficient. It's so remote that very few people come here. Gillian had kind of made it sound like a festival destination, but it's really not. Some people come here, but they tend to be on a unique pilgrimage, like Krista, who had been
This
headed
is
here.
nice.
Yeah. This is exactly right as the rain all comes down. It rains 90% of the time here.
Oh.
There seems to be a logic in that we talk about the deceased, and cease means stopped, and D means no. So no, stop, deceased. You have to go forward, and that is exactly what they're doing with their deceased. It makes perfect sense. There's a logic to this culture.
We all need to die. We need to go forward.
Forward off the cliff?
I think so.
Okay.
Deceased. Yes. To the cliff.
Granny, does this sound right?
Oh, no, nothing you lot ever say sounds right, but yep, come on, let's go.
And Granny, as they say this, they're discussing this all amongst themselves, you're looking at the needle and trying to figure out which of these wrapped bodies it points to. And bodies have been going over the cliff as you're sort of trying to figure things out. And one goes over, and the needle goes from pointing to spinning around again.
That wrapped body was probably someone's mummy.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was more likely to be Gillian. This needle has gone haywire.
I'll cast my fishing line over the edge of the cliff real quick.
Sure. You're going to try and catch the body with it?
Melda on the end of it.
Oh! Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'm so ready. Let's
Very
go.
well tied, well connected.
We've done this
she's
before. I
little
hear
from
the
Elder
spirit.
belt. Yeah.
Like a bit of Euro trash skydiving.
Right. You're a trash skydiving.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that. Okay. Then let's see. What do we want to do here? What do we want to do?
If we've got this wrong, then this is going to be horrifying for anyone who's this person's family. Let's really hope we catch the right one.
That's true.
Vermelda, do you want to roll schmooze for help a buddy?
100% please.
And Krista, do you want to just make a stout roll for me?
I do. Again, 7 plus 2, so 9.
9.
I got a 12.
You got a 12 on help a buddy.
Yes, I did.
All right.
I
So
love that for us.
that changes Krista's roll to a 12 as well. You basically give Krista a super success. This is
I'm really good at this.
the nuts. This is definitely not something I planned for, so this is great. Romelda, you are
really?
flung out on this line with your limbs flailing around, and you wrap around the body in midair, and you grasp it as best as you can, which, like, your limbs are super bendy, so you sort of, like, wrap around, right round like a knot. And Krista starts reeling you in, and reeling you in, and reeling you in.
Wibbs, hold me.
I got you. I got you.
And
Great. Never mind, Grady.
You come on, just pull.
Granny's
We're back
busy
into it.
looking at some of the locals of here who have turned to see this desecration of their sacred ceremony. Who have
This one wasn't done.
and they're
Don't
starting to
worry,
converge on
stand
you.
back.
There are some guards who this is a pretty rural area. Most of the armor and weaponry here is pretty rustic or ceremonial. But these are not guards that converge upon you. They're kids. You've seen them running around. They're sort of following. There's a guy on stilts that you thought was a clown, but he seems to be pretty well respected in town. More than a clown usually would be.
Okay.
And they seem to follow this figure around. And now they're coming for you. And they don't look entirely like innocent little children anymore. There's something twisted in their faces as they just start stalking towards you, almost like predators.
Granny, could you explain it to them? Maybe the
No,
big
no.
one. They look up to him.
We forgot just some accoutrements. There's a little bit of the rite that we got to perform still. Just getting it back to finish off things properly. Now you calm down.
5-second rule. Hasn't touched the water.
And these children gather around you, and they sort of ring around you, and like it's taking you a bit to reel the body in because it's heavy. Gillian's not a small person, and he's weighed down by the shroud and all the stuff that they've jammed in with him. These kids
And
ring
in
around
one
you.
hand, I'm holding a candle, so it's rough.
Definitely hard. You're lucky you've got one of those like deep sea fisherman belts that like holds the rod, so you just have to like wheel it in. Yeah.
It's also to carry around for Melda sometimes in like farmers markets.
Yep. Yeah. So this stilted figure comes towards you, and it's the first time you've really got a good look at them face on, but it's not a face you see. It is a mask, a skull mask, and it's smiling in a very unsettling, wolf above prey sort of way. And it's standing about 12 feet tall on these stilts. And it doesn't
Alright,
say
now
anything
show.
that you can really hear. There's a whispering sound that you hear, and the children sort of prick their ears towards it and then look towards you, and they growl a little bit and step a little bit closer. And they're like, "Let it fall. It must fall."
Because of Granny's connection to the Bloodless One and her origins on the Palean Plains, can I have a deep squint to see what these little children might be?
You
Or-
certainly may. Roll weird
How
for
big
me.
are the stilts? Are they like 2 feet tall on the top, so they're real tiny, or do they seem like a bigger figure also?
It's hard to say a little bit because they're also draped in very long robes. You would say the stilts are probably maybe about half the height, and the rest is
alright.
person on top of it.
Yeah, Granny might be a little bit put off by this stilted figure because she's just rolled snake eyes.
Ooh, yeah,
That's good. Snakes are magic.
Yeah, snakes are magic.
sure they are. Yeah, they do real well around here on a campfire for dinner.
That's
Yeah,
a 4.
or a 4. Yeah, you don't learn anything. You are too busy looking up and up and up. Like particularly from your stature, where age has sort of weighed you down. This thing looms. It's not broad. And there's nothing like overtly menacing about it other than the mask. But that's just something really off-putting. Maybe it's just seeing somebody on stilts surrounded by children that throws you off.
Always off-putting.
It would freak me out, let's be real. But this figure whispers something from behind its mask that again you don't quite catch, you don't quite hear. It just makes you want to like crawl into yourself a little bit. It's unsettling. And the children and the residents of here are all looking at you with this body dangling on a line. And like, you must fall. The sacrifice must be made. You condemn us all!
I don't know if this is being a bit cheeky. I'm wondering if Granny could get freaky and
What
cast a little spell.
would you like to do, Granny?
I'm wondering if I could create an illusion to make it look like Framelda's dropped. the body, but is in actual fact still holding on to it.
Absolutely. Roll weird, but get freaky.
Yeah, Granny's gonna get freaky.
Would
So
anybody
double one again.
like to help a buddy out?
Yeah, I'll help a buddy out.
Go
I'm
ahead.
very familiar with clowns and stilts, so I'm not perturbed by the sight and am able to help to channel Granny's illusion.
Go ahead. You roll that help a buddy. I will let
And
you
I
roll
got-
that with wit.
Okay, that's an 11.
An 11? Nice. So Granny gets an extra +1.
+1. Oh, well, that brings my 8 to a 9. So close.
So close! That's okay. That's alright.
I mostly manage.
You do mostly manage. So, to everybody else, except Granny and Framelda, it looks like Framelda has flipped her grasp on this body, and it has fallen into the ravine below. And Framelda, you have to check, because you see it falling as well. You're like, no, I've got it in my arms. I swear it's here. I'm sorry, Gillian. And Granny's like, oh, there it goes.
Oh dear. Oh well, there you go. You got your wish.
But you
Is
get
there any sort of check Krista can do to see if they know that's not real?
you could make.
Because if their good friend fell, they might do something crazy.
I'll let you decide whether you roll wit or kenning to see if you can
I'll do
decide this.
wit,
If Granny doesn't
'cause at
sort of
least
give
that's
you a
some-
wink to let you know.
Oh, Granny wink.
Oh, I'll give him a wink, whether he's paying attention or not. That's another
Oh,
question.
It's a
Granny's
good-
getting freaky.
Real freaky with that wink.
Oh, well. Oh, that's pretty good. That's an 11 plus 1. So,
Perfect. Yep.
dirty 12?
Yeah. Dirty 12. Yep. Dirty counts. Dirty get
That's
freaky
what Jesus
12.
used to call his band. Dirty 12.
Oily Josh and the
He's a nice
Greasy
guy.
Boys. I am.
I was a fisherman, you know.
Yeah, so you know that this is fake. But Granny, you also know that you didn't quite tie the weaving off as well as you wanted, and you have limited time before they can see the body in Framelda's arms once again. And the kids are backing off, but they're still watching you, and the crowd's sort of like awkwardly going back. They're sort of keeping an eye on you, waiting for you almost to like rush in and take another body. Like, these are their dead people. Let them deal with them how they wish. And the kids are
Don't
like,
have much time, Krista. Come on. And Wibbs, pull hard.
Does Framelda
Is it-
feel anything weird with the body? Like, are they moving? Are they stiff? Like they're dead? Are they yelling?
it's
I don't have much feeling, to be honest, but I'm giving him forehead kisses and telling him he's going to be okay.
Oh, I bet she loves that so much.
Don't you worry, Gillian, I've got you. I'll never let you go.
No, you haven't.
I
Do
don't
you-
have you.
Romelda, there's a good question. Do you know the difference between what a dead body and an unconscious
No.
body feels
I
like?
don't know what a real body feels like.
There you
I am
go.
made of porcelain. I don't have feeling.
Well, it's not
Aw.
moving, so
Apart from for that stupid boy.
yeah.
Oh, well, you know. He's so pretty. I like his hair.
He's not moving. He's not responding to the forehead kisses in any way. He's not like transforming into a frog or back again. So that's probably
That's
a good
all.
thing.
That's my frame of reference. So
Yeah.
if he's not doing that, then I'm not doing it right. I must do it harder.
Maybe a bit of
Burying my
time.
face into this.
Hug the
Right.
porcelain.
Which, even though they've seen the body drop, they can still see how you're acting. So the blessed
Oh.
few, these children are like looking at you like something suspicious here.
Hmm.
But you're gonna have to move fast if you want to get out of there with that body.
Trying.
Yeah. Then you reel them up. And do you just like skedaddle out of there? You're just going straight out of town?
To the
Hmm.
nearest place we can hide.
To
Alright.
open it up, yeah, we gotta take a look at this sweet body.
Make sure,
Make sure
we
it's
got
the right one.
Yes.
Yeah, imagine it's just
I don't
some
want the
rando.
wrong one.
Some like dead, moldering rando. Oh, how bad would you feel?
Krista's afraid it's just gonna be him.
There's another option.
Myself.
And you know what, actually? I think I'm gonna make a roll.
Now, if those children get nasty and attack, Krista's not very good at catching children, so I suggest you just throw them up in the air.
Okay.
Maybe over the
Just toss 'em.
ravine. Right, so you clear out with the body, and you're sort of like hunting for like an overhang somewhere hidden. There's not really alleyways here. It's not like a tight enough packed sort of situation, but most of the residents are at the ravine. Granny, you do notice that the figure on stilts, its head turns to watch you as you leave. And you see it sort of lean a little bit sideways, like it's whispering something into the ear of the children that follow it. As another body goes over the cliffside, and another round of chanting and prayers comes up. But you duck behind a dwelling, and nobody seems to be immediately around. Do you want to unwrap?
While they're doing that, I think I might keep an eye on that stilted figure.
I'll help unwrap.
All right.
Don't worry, I've got you, Gillian. And I will smash my finger on the floor and use the jagged porcelain to like cut up the wraps to undo it. Krista, hold him still. He's not wiggling. Actually, he's not moving at all.
Yeah,
he's really
fine.
not.
No.
But I don't want to be fully responsible if I cut off his nose.
Love that nobody's
Just
just
be
got a
careful
belt
on
knife
your
or
finger.
anything. You've just got to smash your
Oh,
finger to do this.
I 100% think they do as well. Like, Krista's definitely got a fishing, like, gutting knife and stuff like that. But I might know.
No, okay. Yeah, so you part the shroud around it, and it is indeed Gillian. He looks to be having a good nap. He's pretty out of it. You couldn't hear before through the shroud, but he is snoring a little bit. He's a bit of drool. He doesn't seem to be
He's dead, but he's
harmed.
snoring.
Yeah, He's-
Stupid boy.
dead to the world, as it were.
I think
They're
we brought
so
him
weird
back.
when they die. They just look so peaceful.
They do. Brought
No,
right
he's
back
not
from the
dead.
brink.
My little pine cone's pointing right at him again.
Mm-hmm.
Granny, we're in public.
Stupid boy.
I think I'm distracted because I'm picturing Fermelda on those stilts. I'm like, we could just take over this goddamn town. We can get the puppet on those sweet babies.
I'm already the provolas, you know. I own the squirrels, so I might as well own the children too.
That's true.
Now,
That's
we
true.
can mess with their sacred rituals, but de-stilting a clown is something I just cannot stand for, personally.
I agree. I think there's too many silly ideas you're putting in that empty head of hers.
Start whispering to Fermelda about it.
Lovely.
You would look so good up on those stilts, Fermelda.
My
Just
ears,
kidding.
there's nothing in between my ears, so it's like amplifying the sound, almost like a megaphone from the other one, so everyone can hear it out the other side.
What's that?
I'm just looking through.
I'm just picturing this because you've got like Romalda with the megaphone head, and then you've got Granny leaning in with her air trumpet to the other side of it. Like it's just going directly from Krista's mouth to Granny's ears. And Romalda's
If I
just sitting
look
in the
through
middle.
Fermelda's head out the other side, can I see the future?
Make a deep squint for me.
And that's Kenning?
Yes. No, it's weird.
Ooh,
Sorry.
It's weird.
Oh, that is weird. So that's 5 plus 0, so 5.
Yeah, you don't see the future. You see, like, there's a little
Oh.
spider in there that's made itself pretty comfortable, but that's about it. Maybe that's the future.
If you look through your head, you can see the present.
Now
I
that's
try
a
and
rare
look through my own
gift.
head.
Well, that's a shame. If you passed, I'd have got a plus
Well,
1 to the
no.
next freaky roll.
Yeah, that would have been good. So you have Gillian,
Okay.
who is unconscious. Not seen to be rousing. I mean, you haven't exactly protected him from the rain either, so it's kind of sheeting down on his face, and he's not really waking up.
Well, his tent didn't exactly protect us from the rain. Come on, I think we should get him somewhere out of view of these children and their freaky clown uncle.
Mhm. Feed him the tent mint.
The tent mint. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Just
Feel
put it
like-
in.
I feel like giving him a mint.
And you
Are they
hear
going
of
to follow us the whole way? Because I mean, I can still see them coming, and they're looking all very mysterious and
I
creepy.
turn your head to look. They are coming.
you turn your head back around, Krista, after that, and there's one right in front of you.
Ugh.
Ugh.
You said something about mints. I don't like mints.
Oh,
I don't like
Granny's got
people
mints.
taking our dead.
oh, he's alive.
He's in the
No,
shroud.
not dead. No, he's
Oh.
breathing.
Yeah, he's role playing. He's a LARPer.
The kid goes to kick Gillian, and Gillian doesn't move. Doesn't wait, doesn't flinch, anything. Doesn't even snore a little bit louder. He's like, he's in the
Kids
shroud,
these days.
and he's not getting out by himself. He belongs to the
How-
ravine.
How does he get out if he can't get out by himself and he's already asleep?
Yeah.
The
And you
dead
just
don't
kicked a
go
dead
out
guy.
either.
Oh.
And Wibbs, this is like
So
this
you're like-
is logic. This is making sense. Like, yeah, of course the dead can't get out of the shroud. Dang, yeah. This kid's making sense.
Did you say you like mints?
Oh, I said I don't like mints. I like candy.
Oh.
What?
I know, it was a little confusing at the time.
I have some fish candy I bought from some chipmunks a while back,
Maybe
actually.
we can make a trade.
Look at these bad boys. Little
You
dusty
want to
little hair.
trade a dead body, part of our sacred ritual. And this is a child saying it to you. This kid looks maybe 8, but it's not speaking like an 8-year-old. Maybe
Well,
it
we
is,
wanna
actually.
take the
That does
body
sound
you-
kind of like all the 8-year-olds I know, so maybe. Who's to say?
We want to take the body you just kicked because you damaged it, and we're trying to keep you out of prison for kicking this dead body. So we're doing this for you, kid.
I'm not going to
You
prison.
killed him.
What happens when they fall? I don't understand. They go over. You say they're the shroud has them. What is the shroud?
The shroud, and it points at the wrapping around the body. Once they're enshrouded, they're
What does that
destined for the
mean?
ravine.
And they just drop forever?
They drop. And then their souls ascend with the lantern lights. The ravine sets them free.
Yes, the lantern lights. That's what I'm here for.
The souls go free. What if they don't have souls?
Mm.
Well, this
Then
one
there's
might
no
not.
lantern for them, and they're not free.
Oh.
And it's looking
Okay.
directly at you, Fermelda. It's looking at you very, very intently.
I won't. Okay. The rain's hitting her face. You can see it looks like tears building up, but it's just rain because she's porcelain and can't cry.
And who does the shrouding then? Who put the shroud on this one?
The priests do it.
Who's the priest? Is it that tall one with the mask?
No, that's not the priest. The priests are all the... Have you not seen the temples you were walking around yesterday? All the priests. The heart of
Oh.
truth leads us. But the priests do the wrapping. And the people perform the ceremony. That's the way of things. And then the souls ascend the next day. And the cycle can continue. And we can live here. Here.
Oh, well, the wrappings are all ruined on this one. Perhaps we should take it to the temple.
Get them rewrapped. There's probably a fee, but they'll probably do it.
There is a fee, and there is a time. And the time is now! And more of the kids popping up. And they, encroaching.
This
Like
is why
they're
you should
gonna
never
take
have
it.
children.
We could wrap them in shrouds, then they'd have to throw them off the edge.
You could try.
I think I'm carrying the body.
You gonna try and book it out of there, or are you gonna try and do something else to get rid of these kids?
Franny, Wibbs, Fermelda, you three are the smart ones.
Well, then I see want to trade. Is there anything we could do to make you look the other way for a while?
It's just a matter of, I know that you want to free the soul, but the soul still owes us something. So like to free it now would really complicate things. I'm not saying never. I'm just saying that there's still some unfinished business. And I think unfinished business can result in ghosts. And you don't want to haunt your whole town doing your ceremony. It would just really put a damper on this festival. I know you got some tourist dollars coming in. It would wreck your whole economy if we just can't, for just a moment, step away with this and finish up our business, clear any ghost happenings, and then we can continue on with our day and the economy will thrive. Think of the money that will come into your town.
And the kids sort of look at their ringleader, who's looking at you now, Wibbs. And then they all in unison cock their heads like they're listening to a whisper. And then they snap back to look at you. If you want this soul, or this person, we can take another in its place.
Perfect. Take somebody else. I don't
Yeah,
care.
that
Oh,
kid right there
well,
looks
yeah.
kind of
hold on.
bored.
If
Hold
you
on.
want to trade, then you gotta pony up.
We don't have any horses.
You could have Framelda's soul.
Yeah.
I'll go. Looks like fun. I enjoy
Just your
falling.
soul.
You know what?
I
Amalda? Roll, just make a schmooze roll for me.
No.
could I help him by smiling?
Go for
You can try help a
Framelda
buddy.
sway
Yep,
their way.
that's a schmooze.
I'd like to try to help a buddy.
Yeah. Did you want to sway, Granny, did you say?
I was just suggesting that Framelda sway their way.
Hmm.
It's an 8 on the help a buddy.
8 on the help a buddy? Okay. What did you get
I
from
rolled
Alda?
a 9 plus 2, so that's an 11.
And a +1 from Krista.
That's 12.
That's a 12.
Oh, dirty fisherman.
Okay. And they look at you, and they're like, we've not tasted a soul like yours before. That's a deal.
Ooh.
You can take the body. The belongings are already destined for the ravine. But we can take this one instead. And
Oh, but the deal was just for their soul. We didn't say you could have their body.
Where do I keep my soul? Is it in my foot?
No, it's actually pull out a little bag of like salt. It's right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Perfect. I thank you for holding on to my soul for me.
Of course. You have no pockets or fingerprints.
And yeah, I really struggle with possessions.
And I see that and respect that about your journey. I just, want to help a little bit if I can without making you feel like you need it all the
I
time.
think they're gonna want to wrap her up.
Oh,
The
if I'm
ravine
going
needs to be
into the
shrouded.
ravine,
Framelda, dear,
yes.
hold on to this for a little while, and I'm going to give you one of my rune stones, which are attuned to me.
Oh, thank you.
Ooh,
I only
okay.
like to trade, so if I'm going into the big thief ravine, can you hold on to Mr. Bear for me?
Yes, of course I can. I'll
don't
bring him
want to
back
give
to you
him
safe
food,
and
so-
sound.
Thank you.
I won't let Framelda go alone, guys. Like, we should either all lay head to toe and have them wrap us all as like one really large chimichanga of like mourning, or I'm gonna go with Framelda because I don't want them to be alone. I don't know if they die. I think they just live forever.
Well, it's up to you, Krista. I'm pretty sure that I can find Framelda again, so don't leave her
Oh.
side.
Krista, I was, do you mind just a second? I was always planning on going over the edge. I've read it in the book. If I jump over, maybe I'll be whole again.
And I bring out a little jar, and I'm like, and I came here to put this over the edge.
Would you like me to
Jane-
take them?
I think I'd like to go with you. And if this is my final Fisher trip, I mean, look at me. Not a lot of summers left.
I'll always like company. It's not as scary with 2 people.
My basket's hollow without you in it,
Hmm.
There's
I
plenty of
mean-
us in the sea. Take me too.
Two
For the price of
souls
one, you
for
can't say
one.
no to that.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll forgive your trespass today.
Likewise.
But the soul comes with the body. All right.
A
And
deal's a
they-
deal.
Snatch you up, both of you. They like grab you, and there's like 3 kids each on you. Gillian is like 2 kids descend on Gillian, unwrap, but take everything that was in the wrappings with them. So Gillian's there on the street in his pajamas. They have fluffy little sheep on them. It's quite cute. He doesn't have his slippers on. Sadly enough, they've dropped
Aw.
off somewhere, but he's reasonably cozy, still snoring away. And they grab the 2 of you.
Toss. Oh,
Go
I'll
ahead,
toss
Krista.
Wibbs my extra roll of like fishing wire. Just so we have on both ends, we have 2 lines of fishing wire.
It's always
Just in
useful.
case.
You never know when you're going to
Yeah,
need
tuck
it.
it away.
Yeah.
Are you wearing a wire, Wibbs? Because here's one.
I love it. You're snatched up by these kids. Little kids. They drag you off with stunning power for small children. Maybe not. I mean, kids who go after candy have been pretty powerful about it. And they drag you off through the streets at like lightning speed. It's kind of crazy. You don't really get to walk. You're just like dragged and your heels dragged through the
My
mud.
legs are flailing behind, just like
Yeah. And I try to mimic
like a wacky
Carmelo.
waving arm flailing inflatable tube man.
I try to go boneless too, so they have to carry both of us.
Yeah, and they just do. They just do. And they lift you taller than like their little centers of gravity ought to be able to. Wibbs and Granny, you're left alone with Gillian's body on the street.
I'm sure they'll be fine, Wibbs.
Yes, yeah, I think they're exactly where they're meant to be.
Yep. And you're borne away
I
to
think
one
we
of the
need to
temples.
find a way to get down. Sorry.
Just base jump. What could go wrong? Bodies go off there all the time and apparently come back up as lanterns. That's not ominous in the least. But Formalda and Krista are taken to... You're taken to separate temples. You are split.
Oh.
And you are laid out just on the floor. It's been freshly dusted at least because of all the things going on. But you're thumped onto the floor, like tripped, laid down on a shroud. Things piled around you. Your pocket's gone through and you find that you cannot move, Krista. Like something's been done to you on the way that you don't quite understand. You're conscious, but you're drifting and you cannot move your body.
I heard spa days are nice. I didn't know they'd be so surreal.
Yeah. And they do, like, they anoint you. Like, you've got oils rubbed into your skin that smell, like, a little bit medicinal. It's not quite formaldehyde, but it is...
Oh, I wipe that on my chest every morning just so I can breathe clearly.
Yeah, but a
so I like that smell.
turpentine, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit... It's oddly comforting, and then you're wrapped in really snugly. It's like being a babe again, swaddled. And everything goes dark as they cover your face. You've got trinkets and things tucked away. The candle you have is still with you. It's against your chest. Still alight. Not burning. The wax drips, but it's not bad. And the jar that you keep, that's with you as well. That's the important thing. If they'd taken that, that would have been all hell breaking loose.
If this is my last adventure, I want to meet it with joy and gratitude. Who wants to go out hating life? Formalda! Formalda!
Formalda,
Just worried
you're
for
on
my friends.
a different floor, a different building. You're wrapped as well, and you clink a little bit against the floor as they sort of move you and things, and it's a weird feeling for you. You've never really been a swaddled babe. It's kind of constricting, but it's also kind of nice. It's like having like compression gloves on to like keep all your joints in place. It's like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. They're not supposed to be like this all the time. It's supposed to be more like this. Okay. You don't really go unconscious because you're not entirely alive. And you can hear their mutterings. It sort of echoes into your head and stays there a little bit. It's not a language you recognize anymore. They're not speaking the tongue they were speaking. You can hear like the children's voices and somebody else and that whispering. But everything goes dark because they've wrapped you up. Then you feel yourself be lifted, carried, get a bit damp from the rain pouring down on you. Something's tinkling next to you in the wrappings that they've taken out of your pockets or added in. And Granny and Bibbs, what are you doing while these two are being wrapped and anointed?
I wondered if I could ascertain whether Gillian has been put to sleep magically and whether I could do anything about it.
Yeah. I would say you could either poke your nose in or have a deep squint, whichever you prefer, if you've got something that would help with either of those.
I think I'd like to have a deep squint.
I
Mhm.
will assist in inspecting
Yes.
the body, especially the drool. I'm like playing with the drool with my finger.
Go ahead and roll help a buddy whibs, and Granny, do you
9.
roll? You got a 9? Cool.
Mhm.
So Granny, you take a +1.
That brings me to a 10.
Perfect. All right, so you have your little deep squint, and you sort of drift your hands a little bit over the body, just like above it, a couple of inches, feeling the flow of his breathing, his blood, the natural weave that everybody carries, which some people refer to as a soul. And then there's a little block sort of at the side of his neck, and you inspect it, and there's just like a little pinprick there. He's been drugged. Physically drugged with something. And one thing you do know from Wibbs reading the outdated version of the Almanac is that this place is indeed famed for its rare and strange mushrooms.
Yes.
You don't know what effects they might have. He does not seem to be damaged in any way. It hasn't affected like the rhythm of his heart or anything like that. He's just sound asleep. Dead weight. Useless, but that's not unusual for Gillian, so he's okay. He's just not waking up.
I don't know if this will be useful, but if I get a clean success on a deep squint, I can also have mixed success on a vibe check.
Yes, you can think
Would
thrice.
that give me some idea of how to wake him?
You get the sense that for most things, there is an antidote or an opposing amount that would be helpful to bring him back. But you don't quite know enough about the substance itself to know what that would be. You would have to do some searching, some experimenting, maybe a little bit of weaving. That's what weaving is. That's this. To find out what it is.
Wibbs, my dear, I think he's been drugged. We're going to need to find some sort of antidote.
Well, that's exactly what he came here for, I suppose, but to indulge in such a manner, I think, was not his intention. But I feel a little bad taking the drugs out of him when he came here to get the mushrooms, but I suppose we can bicker with him about that after we've successfully got him back to the realm of the conscious.
Yes. Let's play it like that, but for now, you're going to have to carry him.
Of course, yeah. Like, ugh. 'Cause Wibbs is not strong. He's not particularly... He's not strong in any way. Let's put it that way. So yeah, he's dragging and sort of carrying him over his back.
Come
Yeah.
on, put your back into it. I'd love to help.
Yep, here we go. Yeah, yep. I got him.
Gillian's also taller than you, so it's just like his heels sadly unslippered, dragging through the mud. And where are you heading to?
Do you think we should try and get down into that canyon, Wibbs, if they're going to get thrown down there?
Seems a good a spot as any. Let's just make our way. Stopping and starting is the hardest part. Gotta keep the momentum.
I don't know if we've got time to stop, Wibbs. Come on.
Let's go.
Just try a little bit harder.
Here we go.
Lovely.
Yep. Harder. Yep.
Romelda, inside your little cocoon, you hear the chanting grow louder and the pace slow of the people carrying you. And you can feel that depth, that openness of the ravine somewhere very nearby. You just know it's there. And then you're tilted and you go over. You fall. You get that. It's unusual for you to feel falling, to have that sort of swoop in your stomach. Like, for one of the first times ever, you feel that, and it's kind of joyous. This is something
I'm
you've
just
wanted.
giggling. The whole way down, I'm giggling.
Yeah. Just this beautiful mortal feeling of being able to fall. Even though you may smash at the end, the action was there. The feeling was there. The experience.
You had to go ruin it, didn't you?
Krista is out. You're vaguely aware of noises and things. You don't really feel the fall. You're just dropped.
I'm remembering alive. You know, first time I pulled Jenga out of one of my fisher nets, he was beautiful. Makes sense to go back here.
Yeah. And you kind of, the weird state that you're in, you kind of drift. You're not looking at memories, you're coming back into them. Like you're opening a door and stepping back into that pair of shoes. And it's a little bit heartbreaking because some part of you knows that this has been and gone, but it's also, it's comfortable. It's cozy. Kind of lovely.
And I didn't want to die in Sternwater. Like I needed to get to a coast. I needed to be able to see nothing but sky ahead so my soul gets a good head start. But, you know, one can't help but remember. Thinking about laying in Formalda's hollow skull in a little ball in a warm, dry place with a friend. Sounds kind of nice right now, but being alone's not too bad when you're full of ghosts.
That's a lovely way to put it. And I think we're going to take a
I tell myself
break
that too.
there. We're going to break. We're going to take 10 minutes. Everybody grab some water. Grab a snack. Stretch, hydrate, unclench your jaws. And yeah, we'll be back in 10 to 15. So about a little bit before past. Sound good?
Perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you, chat. welcome back, hopefully, if I press the buttons right. Hey, I pressed buttons right! Welcome back, everybody, from our intermission. Welcome back to Hirathaya, where our party has split itself, which is always a great idea. This never goes wrong. We've got two of them were wrapped up in shrouds and thrown over the edge of the ravine as dead bodies in the effort to trade themselves for the kid that had led them here. He's kind of alright. Like, he's a rich kid, but he's okay. You know, when the class wars come, you'll let him live the longest, pretty much. Meanwhile, the other two are dragging this unconscious body and trying to find a way into the ravine where all the dead bodies are going so they can try and pick their not dead, but treated as dead friends back up. Or something. Right? That's pretty much the gist of what we're doing. So Krista and Framelda have sort of said goodbye to life. They're falling into the ravine. And they're falling, and it's a long way down. And you can almost feel the mist sort of close in around you. There's this, it's not really oppressive, it's again that kind of snugness, that sort of hug. It just feels like very dense air. And then you know when you're falling off something and you get that feeling right before you hit the ground? Like if you have a dream when you're falling and you're like, oh, you have that feeling, but you haven't hit the ground. You feel something wrap around you. The shrouds you're in. Thin tendrils, like tendons, they're strong. Like a basket weave that catches you and gently lowers you to the ground. And the shroud is pulled back, and you see faces. Seemingly pretty normal faces. It's a little bit gloomy, but they look down at you. Krista, you sort of struggle up into consciousness in this thick air. Framelda, you were conscious the whole time because you're not technically mortal anyway. You're a marionette. They couldn't drug
Hello.
you.
So this is heaven.
Or something like it.
Cool.
You're not dead.
I knew. Are we sure we don't die in the fall? Like just passing through the mist, I'm not dead now? I'm pretty sure I'm dead. I'm pretty sure Chris is pretty sure he's dead.
Define death, you know? It's all relative at the end of the day.
This one it's harder to tell, but you. And they gently, if I may, they ask your permission and gently take your pulse.
Oh.
Feel your breath.
I was going to get a little kiss. Mm-hmm.
You're not dead. Why would the gods
My
send
clothes?
us the living? We're all close in one way or another, are we not?
Well, now that we're friends, we certainly are. They actually sent me and my advisor to lead you into a new tomorrow.
Oh, do we need leading?
No.
That's what I thought. Would you like some tea?
Yes, please. Is Framelda, sorry, my small friend that I came down with, are they all right?
They seem to be, yes. Nobody is harmed. And you look
Thank
a little bit further beyond, and some of the figures are like this person, like you. They're people. Human or not human. Some of them were people, but they're still moving. But they're clearly not alive anymore. There are signs of rot. Some of them have little worms crawling on their faces and out of their faces.
Do you mind?
Oh, not at all. And it's trying to speak. It's a little bit difficult, obviously, because there's a bit of stiffness in the way they move, a bit of rigor mortis. These people are dead. They're ambulatory.
I'd love to take some soul worms for possible fishing later.
Oh, they're not soul worms, but you can have them for fishing anyway.
Thank you. You can have some candies. They're fish, salted fish candies.
The children will love them. And you see there's children
will.
again. But these
Do they have
children
stilts?
there are no stilts that you can see. The children are gathered around a few of these undead people. And they seem quite at home, quite natural with these zombie folk. Some of
Mhm,
them have like a straw hat and like gardening tools, and they're moving in a shuffling, awkward sort of way as the kids are playing around them. The one you've given the fish candies to sort of like looks around a bit. It's trying to be surreptitious, but it has to move its whole head to look around and starts like handing out candies to the kids on the sly.
I love it here. This is great.
And you are
I'm
taken
gonna pick up for Melda.
Yeah,
if I can.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
feel so at home. You know, these people move like me. They are like me.
They seem happy.
Yes.
Do I
Does this mean
seem
I get soul
happy?
now? I have soul now, right? I fall
think-
through the mist, I get the soul?
You look happier. I think I look
You're
happier
happier.
too. Yeah. We'll never die now. We're just here.
Oh,
That's great.
I'll take it.
Yeah, let's go meet the people. Our new neighbors. Probably have to get some sort of housing credits or something.
We'll take you to the elder, and we'll
Thank you.
try and understand what's happened here. And you're taken off. And we cut back to Wibbs and Granny trying to haul dear Gillian down into the ravine. There is no path down here. It does not seem that people go into the ravine except when they are dead. Or thrown off in some other manner when they're not dead. How would you like to make your way down?
Could see the advantage of being thrown over now.
Yes, it's much easier when gravity does all the work for you.
You might as well just drag him.
Yeah, I think that's best. And just very much just throw him off my back and then grabbing by his hands, just dragging him down and thump, 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 off some rocks and thump, 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 off some branches.
It's just like a big furrow sort of dragging behind you. Yeah.
Granny looks around because she doesn't want anyone to see really, but she sits down on her bum and shuffles.
You gonna try and shuffle down the cliff face?
Well, not no. Or is there no sort of path or?
None. It is like it's
Oh.
not sheer because it's all like it is just cliff face, but there's no path or anything like that. It looks quite a jagged way down. It's sort of the
Keep
place where they've been
with the
tossing the
vine.
bodies off is sort of like it's curved in underneath so that the bodies don't hit anything on the way. But yeah.
Are there any vines I could perhaps like, I don't know, use the weave to get them to lower us down?
Do you want to get freaky? See if you can
Always.
command the local plant life.
And Wibbs has some sweet fishing line, just to remind
This
you.
is true.
Yeah, so pull out the wire and I'm going to put some around Gillian and I'm going to try to drag with the wire and see if that...
What are the signs, Wibbs? What vines do you think look good? Go and help a buddy out here.
You can
Well,
consult with the almanac if you like to see like if there are any like
Ooh.
botanical details that might be helpful.
Flip, 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 flip through the book.
Yeah. So you see some vines that warns you against. They will give you a nasty rash. And you see some other vines that will give you a nasty talking to if you touch them. But there are some that are just plain old strong vines that would make Tarzan pretty happy. You think those might be good to try?
The red ones will give you a rash. The blue ones will give you a lashing with their tongues, but the green ones seem to be what we need.
Oh, I like the sound of the other two, but okay.
Getting freaky indeed.
On your own time. But there's business to attend to. We must move swiftly.
Well, I rolled a 12.
You rolled a
Ooh.
12 on
Well, I rolled a 10 with a +2.
Fantastic. All right. So the effect that you're trying to describe how this works because it works and it works super extra good.
Granny takes her juniper wand. I think I forgot to say she's got one horn. The other one she's turned into an ear trumpet, which she's going to pass to Wibbs for the moment. And making a few small incantations, she gets these vines to sort of sit up and dance and wrap themselves around our waists, and we slowly uncoil down the cliff.
Perfect. And it's a very gentle method of doing it. They pick you up, wrap you almost like your own individual little baskets, and just sort of like a gently descending hot air balloon almost, just like an elevator down.
That's even better than gravity.
Even
Halfway
better.
down, she remembers Gillian and sends another one up for him.
And this one, it
Right,
just
right.
like hooks itself into the wire that Wims had wrapped around him, like a little hanging cage, and it's just like meh. Like a purse, pulling him down. He's your handbag dog, golden retriever, NPC. Love it. And you make it to the bottom. You're not in quite the same place that Framelda and Krista landed. You had to like get out of sight a little bit from the
No, they're
town.
happy.
But you have your rune, of course, that you had given to Framelda, so you can find your way very, very easily. And you do. Through mist. It is very misty. It's hard to see. And there are a few times where you see what you think is a path, and you go to follow it, and your rune sort of buzzes in warning and puts you back in the right way. This place is not without its dangers, but you have the tools you need. You have the purpose and the direction. And you find yourself to this odd little hamlet that exists in the murk and gloom. The houses are sort of teardrop shape. They're not a house form you've seen really anywhere else, and you've been to some interesting places, Granny. So have you, Wibbs, growing up with the Circus Fortuna. Very unusual. Lichen, moss, growing all around it. They are too like wicker baskets in their design almost. It's just wrapped around. Kind of wattle and daub style. They've got little gardens outside that don't really seem specifically planted, but they are very much intentionally tended. So they are looked after. But it seems like things just happen organically and are enjoyed for that in this place. And there's already some hubbub. Obviously there's like bodies falling from the sky, as happens every year. Like, oh, it's the rain of bodies time again, hooray! And people are very carefully unwrapping the bodies, setting aside the trinkets and things, and you see there's a very methodical, almost categorization to them. Everything is put just so and labeled, and the bodies are laid out in the mists, and you see dead bodies walking among them. Some of them are sort of like touching faces. Some of them are taking time, much like the residents above, to mourn people that they recognize who have come down. One of the more lively residents goes, "Oh, you're not dead either. This is a strange gifting day. You must see the elder. We'll see the elder. Come, if you wouldn't mind." And they take you to a large hut that's almost more of a fallen log that's been carved very long ago into an abode. Just a dirt floor, many moss and lichen and mushrooms growing on the inside. Instead of lighting, you've got bioluminescent flora. It's beautiful. And in there you find your friends, Framelda and Krista, unharmed, having a lovely cup of tea and some mushroom broth. And you can reunite.
I want to hug Wibbs and be like, how long has it been? The both of you are dead now too. Time has no meaning here. I have no idea how long we've been here, but I'm so happy and sad to see you both. Oh, come.
Well, I much appreciate the welcome. As far as I can ascertain, I believe it's been, and like starts to do some calculations in the dirt. It's been about 25 minutes
Krista's
per my
eyes fill up
calculation.
with water as he looks in the distance. 25 minutes.
But we have been reunited, and we even have Gillian. The gang is back together, and here we are.
Here we go, Framelda dear. I said it'll all work out fine. Here's your bear.
Thank you. I have soul now.
Yes, probably.
The figure in front of
Just
the
curious.
fireplace, who is... They look larger than they are. At first glance, you take them to be quite broad-shouldered. They're hunched, and they seem to have local wildlife just growing on them. There's like a small saplings sprouting from their back, and the mushrooms and lichens that fill this place. And they turn with like a wheezing chuckle. You don't see their face, they're hunched that far over, leaning on a cane. And they...
Stilts.
No stilts, thankfully. But they set down another 2 cups, very slowly, almost painfully, and fill them up with tea for you both. Nobody here is dead. Well, not in this room. Not among the 4 of you. And you, a soul you will have, a soul you have had. Looking at you, Elder. What is a soul but a plaything for the living?
Yes.
I was a little bleak for first meetings.
I'm really confused, but I'm happy to be here.
And you are welcome. We are puzzled. The living do not descend. Whence came you from? How did this happen?
Well, it was a matter of bargaining and wheeling and dealing that we engaged in. And, well, they were trying to take something that wasn't theirs, and they tried to take it prematurely, and we had to try to right all the wrongs, and, well, here we are.
They are who?
Up people. From there.
Up.
They're here.
They're here?
They're here. No, here. Not there.
I'm
here.
confused. They're from here, but here?
Not there. Here.
No, you're not
I
aware.
love your
are you?
house.
Yes, I was wondering when it crash landed. It's a long time ago by the looks of it.
Not so much crash landed as grew crashed.
Oh. We've had different experiences with large logs. Anyway, there's lots of people up on the top of the cliff and they throw these bodies down to you. Did you not know that?
Not entirely. When they wake.
Well, I have just the chapter for you. And I flip through the book and kind of slide it over. It's all right there.
Lovely. You just kind of break the prime directive straight like that. No, that's fine. That's fine. That never goes wrong. That's cool. This figure takes it. You cannot see them reading it, because you cannot see their face at all. They're so hunched over. But they drag a slightly dirty hand over the pages and flip it over.
I love your look. All the shells and everything.
Careful with it. We need to do photos with the Kickstarter.
Yeah, don't get it too dirty. It's 50 gold pieces for pre-order. You can
This
find
was a
it in the
test print.
description.
It's okay. It's a test print.
I will do
Whibs,
my
I think
best.
over there they have a bunch of who's its and what's its galore.
Oh, many.
Oh,
Thingamabobs,
Oh.
aplenty. If you care for
The
them.
stuff sure is neat.
It is, isn't it? And
I've
they
heard
put the
you,
book away. They hand it back to you, Wibbs. And they look at the person who had brought you to this place. And this person that they had introduced as the Elder Sproul. Who speaks now and says, "This is not entirely shocking, as you can imagine, a rain of dead once a year. But when they wake, their memories are fuzzy, incomplete, overgrown. Other things take importance. Family, love, relationships, those they have left, those they hope to see. They sort of looks, or it seems to look, in your direction as they say that, Krista. People look for many things in the mists here when they come, when they wake. But you came waking, not asleep. That troubles me. It troubles me that they would send the unwilling.
I was willing.
I was also willing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I volunteered. Well,
We wanted to explore. Does your culture have explorers who want to go see the unknown and document it for others to follow? What else is the mortal coil but that?
obtain the truth.
Perhaps. We have our truth here, and it is difficult to leave. physically difficult. There's very sheer cliffs.
Do you
Tell me
want to
about it.
leave?
I do not. Some have
Okay.
left, some return. Many do not. Many do not. We disperse as we will.
When these bodies wake, I hear you have these souls that you put into lanterns.
Souls, is it? And we put them into lanterns. Interesting.
Is that right?
We send lanterns. That is correct. A soul is not someone else's to give.
No. Where does that happen?
Come. I will show you,
Yes.
Hirathaya, and what we do here. And you are taken on a tour of this little village, and it is fairly small. All of that, there is quite a diverse little population. It seems when people have gone and come back, they've maybe brought loves with them. It seems to be a steady stream exchange of new blood and old. And all around you, there are these undead folk who make up probably 60% of the total population. There are always guaranteed to be a new influx of them. A lot of them are in quite advanced states of decay. Some of them only have like one arm, for example. The other has sort of fallen off, and their shirts have been patchworked over it. And they all seem quite happy here, quite at peace. Krista had said upon waking that it seems like heaven. And it does seem to be quite a nice resting place. So...
Is this what
This
it's
cost
like?
you an arm and a leg.
Oh no, it's free. But we give an arm and a leg out of the goodness of our hearts.
Melda, is this what it's like when you don't age? You're just permanent.
I don't really know what not like that. I don't know what it's like to age. I don't understand that. It isn't not something that I've done. So maybe. Sure. Let's go with yes.
It seems so still.
Sometimes if you move too quickly, the sawdust inside kind of moves very quickly too, and you can feel a bit of like movement. But other than that, yes, it's pretty still.
The stillness does explain all of the moss growing here. After all, a rolling stone gathers none of it, so it must be still to gather the moss.
It's true, these stones have never rolled. We're obviously rolling all the time. I have no moss.
And Sproul sort of chuckles beside you and doesn't say anything, but you look over and you see all the moss and lichen covering them.
Hey, you roll.
Not very
Oh,
much.
no, you don't roll. Yeah.
No. But come, I will take you to where the sleepers begin to wake.
Yes, yes.
And
I'll hold Formelda's hand.
you take this nice little tour through the happy little village of zombies. And you are taken to what in many other places would probably be considered a graveyard, except that all the bodies are just lying on carefully tended beds of the softest of moss, ringed by little, like, swamp daisies. And they all rest there. They look quite peaceful. There is, like, bioluminescent fungi sort of around them. And beside each one is just a simple stone plinth with all of the possessions that they came down with laid out on it. And a little note that sort of like details anything that the unwrappers have gleaned about them. If anybody has been sent down with a note, or if the ring has had an inscription on it, they've written that down. Like these people are going to wake up amnesic and need to be reminded who they were. And you see them and they do look quite peaceful. You remember Krista being like, anointed in those oils before you were wrapped. And there's that similar sort of like nicely moisturized look to most of these folk. Some of them you can only presume have been dead for months. Like all the dead are preserved and gathered before being thrown over, but they don't look like they've been moldering. They look like they're waiting.
Are there any empty algae beds, or are they all occupied?
There are a few, yeah. It seems that they fill them up sort of like in sequence. They don't have like, you're going in this one, you're going in the section for L. You know, they just fill them
I'm
up
gonna
as
go
they come
lay
in.
down on one while my companions are looking around. It just looks so nice
It
to
is.
die.
It's really comfy.
Wib starts writing notes down about Krista's life to try to match the notes.
Aw.
So just like, dead husband jar, okay. Fisher man, okay.
Don't forget my candle.
Candle, right, candle.
Lovely.
I've carried a light that'll never go out ever since Jenga's light did.
Oh,
Just
yes,
so
need
you know,
to document that.
if there's a storm, you could find me maybe, or be safe.
You feel a heavy hand on your shoulder as Sproul passes, and they're bent so far over that they don't have to reach down very far to touch you as you lay on the ground. They sort of pat you, and sort of turn to look back at the other gathered dead. Yes, they will rise soon, and we have our own to mourn. We're not entirely sure what wakes them. Only that it has happened for generations. Beyond memory. And then in the morning, we gather those that have crumbled to dust. Here, finally. We gather the essence of them, and he gestures at the stone plinths with everybody's belongings. And we send up a prayer that in their third life, they will find peace again. No souls. Not gifted by us, anyway. It sort of gives you a look, Granny. Or would give you a look if you could see their eyes.
No souls.
You keep your own soul. Do with it as you will. That's not up to us.
Never worried too much about my soul because I have a heart. I was never sure what the soul was for, to be honest.
That's fair. A heart is a more difficult thing to keep a hold of, I believe.
I don't know how to love with a soul. I know how to love with, imagination, with my brain, my hands. I don't know the language of a soul, but it seems like you all do. This is really beautiful. Do you have applications for like job openings?
Oh. Well.
A fisher of souls.
Fisher of souls.
I want a little bell that I can wake them up with when it's their time. Like I just ring it maybe next to their ear and it's like shaped like an acorn, something really sweet like that. I
Ooh.
think I could do that forever.
Sproul sort of like shuffles in their pockets for a moment and pulls out quite a large acorn and hands it to you. You may need to carve it yourself. But you could make
I love
bell.
you. Thank you. Lay back down.
What brings you here, strange, sleepless wakers? Whence come you, Hirathaya? Why for? What do you seek?
I thought this was how I could become whole again. I'm not from here or here, not here. Here. I'm from Hirathaya.
Hirathaya. This is a
It's
lot.
all very similar. Yes.
It is.
Whoever did this is really trying to make me struggle with the accent.
Mm.
But realistically, I lived there for around 200, maybe 300 years.
Oh.
And I got out and I was like, woohoo, I'm free again. But I'm stuck in this body. And I read that if I fall from here to there, I would be whole again. And that doesn't seem to be the case. And unfortunately, like Krista, I don't have heart or brain or even really soul. So I don't know how I'm supposed to live or love or think or feel. So I was hoping you could fix that. Maybe with a little bell with the acorn, ring it in my ear and I feel
I'll
again.
ring the acorn that's not a bell yet. Next to
I can't even hear it. I can't even hear it. Maybe that is my problem. But... So if you can help me with that, that would be great, please.
Who were you before you became this?
Um,
300 years
You know
ago,
how-
who were you?
when they say they fall and their brain goes all fuzzy, I don't fully know. I remember sleeping in rough bed, and very slight name, maybe Elma or something of the sort. That's all.
Do you wish to be that again? Or do you wish to be you, that in a way you perceive as not broken?
I would love to still be me. I feel like I've learned to be with these people, and I am my experience. I don't have brain, I don't have heart, so I'm not that, but I am what I have lived. So what I really want is this, but not broken, not missing, not empty.
Same. I'll have what they're having.
2 to go, please.
2 to go.
Sproul sits on a large stone that's sort of at the edge of this sleeping yard, graveyard, whatever you want to call it. Sort of heaves a great sigh, and you see almost like clouds of midges through the air. It's very damp here. It's there are midges. They're not really biting you, but you're like, ugh. You can sort of like almost feel like it's happening, even though it's not yet. Sprout sits and does this little sigh. Know you what a soul is? Any of you? How to quantify a soul?
Granny stays purposefully quiet.
It's not so much that I know what it is, but I can narrow down what it is not. And we've determined it's not a heart or a brain, and therefore I can probably exclude spleen, but that's about as far as I've calculated so far.
I think it's kind of like this. It's kind of like a light that doesn't go out.
Yes.
Doesn't mean it's always warm, but at least you can see your way forward.
For someone without a brain, you have some wisdom. A soul is wanting. That's what a soul is. A soul wants many things. It wants to live. It wants to love. It wants to explore. It wants comfort. It wants to be whole. It wants to be better. It wants to be worse. Sometimes it wants to hurt. It wants not to hurt. A soul is wanting.
Well, if soul is wanting and you want a soul, that means you want to want, which means you are complete. Because if you want to want, it means that you already have. So what do you have that you want to want?
Exactly.
He's right, Melda.
I want to stay. So I guess You did it! Oh my goodness! I knew it. I only had to fall and then I found it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll be here all week.
Does that mean I don't have one if I don't want to live or move anymore? I just want to be still? Am I the one without a soul?
You want to be
Perhaps
still?
You're the one.
I want to be still. I want to lay in this algae and watch time move over me like mist.
That's a want.
Perhaps you're the one, who's ready to
That is a
make...
want, isn't it?
And what do you want? One-horned one. Long traveler.
Oh, I'm just here to accompany my companions. Make sure that they're all right.
That's a good thing to want. You get the
Yes, I like
sense
to
that they don't entirely believe you, but also that they don't really mind. So what has brought you to this place? You have found it, perhaps? What has brought you to this place? How did you come to be here? You were...
I point at Alien.
Ah,
We followed the sleeping boy.
the wakeless sleeper.
He led us in his dreams straight to you.
A curious one. No slippers.
That's not all he's lacking.
Oh, Granny. Oh, that's nice. Sprout laughs as well. Well, perhaps he's best to sleep a little longer. Unless you have
Do
need
you
for
have a
him waking.
crafter or like an artisan in your village?
For what?
Could they turn ashes into a bell?
Ah. You want a reminder?
No, I want a song.
A song.
Song for others to hear when they first wake.
We have a song here. I can give you a way to incorporate it.
Here's a fish candy.
Oh, thank you. I am quite partial.
That's just for you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to give it
It's
to the
salty,
kids.
so, you know.
And, like, you see it sort of disappear under the mound of, like, lichen and cloak and everything. It's like the ocean. It's delicious. Thank you.
Oh, to disappear under lichen.
Right? Like, oh, that's the literal dream.
Literal dream.
Literal. Rao leads you if you will follow. And it takes you back the way that that Granny and Wibbs came in, actually. That trail that you'd almost followed before being pulled in the right direction. And Sproul takes great care to say, you must follow directly. This place is peaceful, but it has its own soul and its own wants.
Mm-hmm.
But we have, I think, something that most of you will appreciate, even if it is not your soul's desire. Again, sort of tilting in Granny's direction.
Yeah, if you have any chipmunks down here, I would keep them out of sight of the rest of my party. Bad blood, old feuds.
We eat chipmunks
just
here.
Recommend. Okay,
No.
well, I mean,
Good for you.
yeah,
A
little
rare
souls,
delicacy.
Mm.
Rare delicacy. So you follow in Sproul's footsteps, and you hear a melody begin to pick up. And it sounds at first kind of like the rhythm of raindrops on a pond. And then that same sort of rhythm on like a slate roof. And it's just all these little harmonies like that. Natural song. Wind chimes. A little bird calling, perhaps. And it begins to swell and thicken and coalesce around you. And you're drawn towards this mushroom circle. And you've seen plenty on your way here. There's like little dots of fairy rings everywhere. Up cliff. Some that seem to be suspended in the mists. And you look really closely and there's actually like mycelium tendrils just suspending them in the air like chandeliers. But this is... Granny, you feel it. It is potent with weave. And it glows rhythmically, pulsing, in tune to its own song. There's one in the middle, bell-shaped, that the gills underneath it almost seem to quiver like a singing throat, a moving voice box as the song unspools. And you feel time, which is already pretty soupy here. You can't really see the sun. You don't feel the wind. You're not really sure if it's day, night, how long you've been down here. It turns even gloopier. Krista, this is exactly the feeling you had, or you had searched for, when you were wanting time to pass. But not pass, time to exist all at once so you could see it in either direction. You want to look to the future, you can. You want to feel the past as you do it, you can. It's all right there. It feels...
I think I was born to be dead here.
Feels like it's calling to you. In a way that could be not malicious, but dangerous. If you were not ready to heed it. And Sproul sort of stops outside the circle. and looks at you all in turn. Says, "The rain sings many songs. It's mysterious. It's not always here. It travels about the ravine. But
I love it.
if you wanted a representation of what a soul can be, I think this is it for you. For all of you.
I'll take out Jenga's jar. And not really recognizing the shape or how anything really works with this, just kind of offer it out like, could you use this? It's all I've brought.
And
Besides,
Sprout takes their walking stick and sort of scratches a little trench in the dirt around the central mushroom. Here. Let them rest here.
Looks like a good place.
Where I hope to be
Now,
someday.
through Romelda's skull, I can see the future in one way, and the past in the other. So this seems like we found the middle of everything.
Yeah. And when it's interesting because you look through Formelda's ear and you see the little spider that resides in their skull, still having a good time.
Yeah.
And you do see the future a little bit, you think. Oh, it's just a child running past with a slowly lumbering zombie chasing after it. Like, wait!
No.
You haven't got your shoes on yet! The laces are untied! And then you look through the other ear. And you would swear, you see the swamps of Stonewater. No, it's just this place. This is kind of swampy. But just for a moment, you heard his voice saying, it's time for a nap. I need a rest. You should rest too.
Need to rest.
You've worked hard.
I have.
And then you pull
God.
away from Bromelda, and it's all just still the same. There's the ring of mushrooms. There's children's laughter in the distance. There's whatever lies on the other side of time, on the outside of the ring.
I'll sit and contemplate Formelda's shadow across this zone and just thinking about my life and how I just realized I'm the third eldest one here. I'm not even at the top. The puppet's older than me by like hundreds of years. So I'll just sit there and think about everything while listening to Granny try to get something, or Formelda try to get something, or Wibbs trying to put their nose on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Granny's gonna shuffle away quietly to one side, and reach into her pack and take out a skull. And she'll have her wand in her other hand, and she'll be looking around and, well, Ebenezer came all this way to get a soul. I don't know. Everyone's searching for something. Wibbs, always looking for the clues. Imelda, she thinks she doesn't have a brain, a heart, or a soul.
She's got at least
She's
one
got
of those
them.
things.
No, bucket loads. She just doesn't know it. Krista. Gentle, kind Krista. No, Ebenezer. I think my search ended a long time ago. It wouldn't be right to take the soul of another just to satisfy my wishes. I'm going to place the skull down at the base of a tree and shuffle back to the others.
You think for a moment. You see like a fluttering light in the eye sockets, almost like a blink. And you sort of, as you turn away, you just see a really darkly beautiful sort of orchid-like flower that you hadn't noticed before. And the flower just drifts in the slight breeze in your direction and begins to fall off the stem towards you.
I suppose that's pretty.
Wibbs, what do you
Goodbye,
make of this
Ebenezer.
song?
Wibbs is listening particularly for the animal noises, and he reaches in and pulls out a lollipop that's kind of like whistle shaped, and it has like some hair and fur on it. He's picking it off and gives it a lick to clean it off, and then tries to mimic the sound through the whistle lollipop of the animals in the sound in the song. And after each one he gets correct, he kind of nods and he's trying to ascertain what is giving this song its life.
Beautiful. And Sprowl's sort of watching this. He's keeping an eye on Krista. Krista going through his little, not quite grieving process, but definitely a process. Granny doing her own as well. Listens to you, sort of helps you correct, like, oh, a little higher on that chord at the end. And eventually you realize you're trying to narrow things down. You're always trying to narrow things down. You want to find one thing you can follow. You want to find one direction you can go in. You were raised in chaos. And it was beautiful. And you had a great time, but you didn't quite fit. And if you can find one way to fit, you want to follow it. But it doesn't work like that. Nothing exists in isolation. So you play the start of one song. You play the middle of another, one into another. Start again, pick them up, weave them together. You play the timbre of Granny's sigh as she puts a skull down at the base of a tree. You play the rough clacking of Framelda's joints as she struggles to move easily. And you realize, I've been trying to play a jingle this whole time when I was a symphony. I've been looking for one path when I should be taking them all. Who am I to limit myself? And because you're Wibbs, you think about this like, who hasn't put these thoughts in my head? What do they want? What do they gain by bringing me down? By making me narrow myself? What can I do to change it? Who do I push back against? And you begin to feel like you've found a path, but you found all the paths. You can pick any single one you like.
I think I've got it. I think I've got it. The song. It's the feelings loom, the fearing doom, but I'll feel anew because there's much room with the mushrooms. I think it's clicking. It all ties together. The weave, the mushrooms, the mycelium, the death, the life. I found it.
Eureka!
Oh, good for Wibbs. He found it.
Maybe he didn't even know he was
Yes.
looking for it, but he found it.
Seems like we all found something here. Taking us by surprise.
Charles sort of nodding to
Except
themselves.
maybe Gillian there, still kind of asleep.
Well, we could find him an antidote, I suppose.
Oh yes, just give him a
Maybe.
bit of tea, he'll be as right as rain.
It was very nice tea. Did it have hemlock in it?
Just a little bit for the kick, but we balance it out with some
Mm.
local remedies, don't worry.
Very nice.
Perfectly harmless. You're welcome to stay. As long or as little as you like. Tomorrow, we light the lanterns. Say goodbyes. You're welcome to light lanterns of your own.
I'd like that.
Sounds nice.
Granny, you look back at the tree, and the trunk has split. And it's already growing around the skull. Like it belongs here.
Goodbye, Ebenezer.
Hello. Goodbye.
Come on, let's get some tea in this boy.
Lovely. So you head off back to Sproul's little hut. And you can put up the tent for the night if you like. You wake Gillian, who's really upset that he missed being thrown off a cliff almost. Wow. Like, super bummed he missed the whole thing. And the next day, you see the entire village, all the zombie-like creatures, the children, those living. Sproul, who is like somehow puffing on a pipe. You don't see the pipe. You just see steam coming out or smoke coming out from underneath their hunch as they watch the goings-on. There are homemade lanterns. They're made by the dead. It's one of the first tasks that the sleepers take on once they wake. And you see that the current crop wake up, confused, they're reminded, they're said, you can do whatever you like here. You can wander, do nothing. Most of them choose to do peaceful things like tend the gardens, things like that. But the first thing they all do is make their lantern for when it's their time. Because they are told it will be their time again. They will have a third attempt at life or whatever comes beyond. And once they've dissolved into ash, weathered down by the elements, their lanterns are lit. Little trinkets sent back up with them through the mycelial mists. Little notes that were tucked lovingly into their shrouds. Little riches, little gifts. And they all go back up to here. And the cycle begins again. This mutual coexistence between the beauty of death and the beauty of life and life again. And maybe again. And if you want, you can find a way back up. Granny's pretty good with the getting freaky with the local vines. Making an elevator up here. But if you want to stay, even for a little while, even for an eternity, you're always welcome, Hirathaya.
I think I'd like to help wake up the dead, like as an assistant this first day, like watching the people who actually do it. Like, can I lend a hand? Good morning. Good morning. It's today. And
good morning.
Note from Elder. Put your hand back on. He didn't mean that.
Don't need to literally give them a hand. Sproul thinks this is hilarious, though. Anytime Formelda does Formelda things, Sproul is just like chuckling so much. There's like lichen and moss shaking off them. Little worms.
He's going to be my best friend.
Yeah. You're
Formelda be sat in Krista's little basket the whole time anyway. Just not kind of leave there, just kind of sitting there. She would have sent up Mr. Bear. Should have attached it to a lantern and sent him up. Teeth just dripping out of its back because he's stuffed with teeth.
Yeah, as all teddy bears are. Chat
just floats up, you know, gives it a bit of a wave, and then crawls back into Krista's little basket.
Lovely. And you are all welcome to make your own lanterns as well if you want at Arts and Crafts Hour with the Undead. 100%. And Sproul says, like, even if you're not here, when it's your time, we'll send them up.
Could I send one deeper instead of up? The only person looking for my light isn't up there. So if you have any way to send it further into the mist, I'd really prefer that. Just to be seen, you know?
I might be able to help with that.
Oh, what would you like to do, Granny? You gonna get freaky?
A little bit of a wind. Like a gust of wind to swoosh it into the mycelial mists.
I'll even shape the lantern like a little sailboat if it can float into the mist.
Yes.
Cry, wishing to be drawn into a net from a dark place by somebody strong and gentle, and knowing those years are done, but still sending it off. I'll keep my light, though.
Lovely. I love it. You don't need to make any kind of roll for that. That's narrative happening. You don't fight that. That's really beautiful. Would anybody else like to accomplish anything in Athea or in here?
I think Wibbs is feeling a sense of peace that he hasn't had and is not even looking for signs, not even looking for another destination, just happy to have an answer that makes sense to him, and is very much just curious about the local culture, but that need to know seems to be lifted, and he's okay just to be.
Nice. Gillian has learned
Well-
nothing. So Gillian is like taking notes, but also like trying to eat pretty much every mushroom he comes across. He is like talking with people as well and being like, what's the best with a quiche, and do you put this one with bacon or whatever? But yeah, he's unperturbed.
And how do you feel, Framelda? Do you feel whole now?
I think so. It feels more whole than before, but that could also be all of the mushrooms that Gideon keeps on putting into my mouth.
Yeah. You've definitely like become a mushroom colony in the sawdust.
I can hear them.
I'm enjoying it.
Flapping about in your foot.
I know. Wait. Just smashes the foot against like a tree, and just mushrooms spew out everywhere. Don't worry, I'll put it back together and get some sap and start putting it all back together.
I want to fill you with beautiful little shells, Framelda. See if maybe you can walk a little more upright if you have some weight in your feet.
That could be really fun. I'd make the jingle jangles when I walk.
What is a soul besides the jingle jangles when you walk?
It's just like Pudding. Pudding used to have lots of things inside him, and sometimes he would give them away. Usually they were like little squirmy little maggots, but it was quite fun anyway. So, I mean, maybe if we put things like squirmy little maggots in too, I can be like Pudding.
Deal. Maggots, pretty shells, hand in hand.
So I'd be down here perfectly.
1, 2, 3. No.
Lovely. Well, I think we will end this journey to Hirathaya there on the subject of maggots and shells in people's feet. That seems fitting. Thank you very much for taking this journey with me. Thank you, chat, as well. I haven't super been looking. I've been focused on my other, 3 screens. But, yes, Albyon, Mr. Bear, that's correct. Yeah, that was a lovely tale in the end. Literally all I had in mind for this stream, as I told the cast at break, was up to Gillian being thrown off a cliff, and then anything else they did after that
Good boy.
was up to them. Classic Gillian moves.
That did not resemble our party in session 0. This was
No.
not the lovely tone I expected.
No,
Squirrels will do that to you.
squirrels will do that
I
to
am the
you.
leader of the squirrels, so that makes sense,
Yep, that's true.
It's such a
They're
lovely
mine.
setting. Beautiful setting.
Yeah. So thank you all for taking this journey with us. I had a great time. I actually managed a one-shot for once. We did it in one session. Go me. So fantastic. Yeah, it's been a delight. And thank you for test driving the new system, which I really liked this sort of narrative style of it, and I hope you guys did as well. Josh, do you have a stream tonight, or are you recording?
It will be live in about an hour and a half. Heroes Die.
Fantastic. Yeah, so check out at Heroes Die Show on YouTube, I believe. Oh, look, the link
YouTube,
is under
Twitch.
there.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
all the places.
All of the places. Go check that out. Fantastic show, great cast. Also, Chloe, who is in chat, has got a show of Bowie's in Spelljammer, which is coming out tonight on a channel that I don't have the link to right now. But if you look up Bowie's in Spelljammer on YouTube, you'll find it. It's going to be really fun. I've been looking forward to that one for a hot minute. Sakaya has a new podcast thing coming out, sort of in the new. I was going to say sort of shortly, but it's in the new year. I'm imagining.
Yeah, it's March it'll be released.
March, so that'll be cool. We'll be posting links to that when it happens. And Jack's just Jack. Jack just lives here.
I'm always here. I never leave.
And I've been
Thank you,
your
Mark.
game
Thank you.
master as well, Aerik Pindleberry, Scribe of Albyon Absey's Geographical Almanac. But we'll go around the cast and once again reiterate who they are, what they're doing, where they're from, other than just tonight. So, Jack, introduce yourself properly, please.
Sure thing. I am Jack, also known as Relish. I'm a scribe for Albion Absey. I'm currently working on a lot more little subclasses for the Kickstarter, so keep your eyes out and feel free to play some crazy stuff coming from Hirathaya, from Hirathaya, from everywhere that we've mentioned tonight and further on. But that's me. Find me on socials at Yellow Relish, and that's it.
Wonderful. Josh, tell us more about Heroes Die and everything else that you do.
Yeah, so I'm Josh, and I'm a cast member on Heroes Die, which is the character-driven actual play where you'll hope we don't live up to our name. And you can find us at Heroes Die Show pretty much anywhere where you could type in a username, so try it out. And we have a new episode of our campaign, Best Left Buried, coming out, like I said, in about an hour. So Heroes Die Show.
Yes, thank you very much for fitting us into your schedule today. That's a hell of a back-to-back RP day.
My pleasure. No, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for having me.
Very welcome. Rara, tell us about you.
I'm Rara. I mostly hang out on Blue Sky under Rara. I'm in like 3 one-shots in the next 8 days. Just finished a 3-month series on Tuesday of Old Gods of Appalachia, which I highly recommend if you want to backtrack. And my partner and I are releasing the prologue to a weird 1983 podcast thing. We're starting like in the next 5 days or so. It should be out. But that's it. This was like the highlight of my year. This game right here. So, everything else is okay.
It's all right, I guess. Yeah, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Everything else, that's cool.
This was a beautiful setting. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I love this place. And Sakaya, tell us more about your work, please.
Hello. Yeah, just to echo Rara, it's been fantastic tonight. Thank you so much, Aaron. I am Sakaya. I am currently I'm only in one other thing at the moment. This Monday, I am in part 4 of The Severed City, which is a Thirsty Sword Lesbians game running over on Horde of Tales. And then there'll be 4 more in January. I am, as mentioned, but releasing a brand new podcast in March. It'll feature a 12-part liminal story to start with, which is set in 1976 in North Wales during the heat wave that hit the UK back then. So heat and horror
Goes together well.
Yeah, you can find me on Blue Sky as Sakaya for any updates on that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much to everybody in chat as well. Thank you for coming along with us, and thank you for putting up with my technical snafus, as always, because I'm a pro streamer, you guys. And we'll see you next time we delve into the Almanac. You can check out the end credits that are going to roll very shortly to double check everybody's socials and everything like that. Also, don't forget that you can still pre-order the Almanac at the link below me on the screen. tinyurl.com/someway Albyon Absey, and you will get all of our locations, all the bonus content, all the subclasses that Jack was talking about, including a really cool paladin. I'm only saying that because I wrote it. Also a really cool druid. I'm only saying that because I'm going to write it. And it's from Hirathaya. It's going to be sick. As well as maybe this system as a little tidbit in there as well for your own sort of narrative games. And yeah, really looking forward to that. But we will let Josh have a break before he's back on deck again. And I will thank my beautiful cast. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a true pleasure. And everybody else, remember to stretch, hydrate, unclench your jaws, be patient and kind. We'll see you next adventure. Kakite!